Depleted Capitals start slow, then back up in 6-2 loss at Vancouver. Vancouver, for a fifth time in less than 40 minutes, goaltender Braden Holtby pushed his mask up and off his face and looked up at the video board to see what happened as the Canucks goal song blared. Meanwhile, Philipp Grubauer got off his seat on the Capitals bench, fastened on his own mask and skated over to Washington's net as a relief mission. The Rogers Arena crowd roared as Holtby did the skate of shame back to the bench, and Holtby's teammates tapped their sticks along his pads as he went past them, perhaps their way of saying this was on them and not him. The depleted Capitals lost ugly Thursday night, falling to Vancouver, 6-2, in a second straight defeat. They were in a 3-goal hole before the first period even ended, and Holtby was pulled after the Canucks made it 5-0, at which point it was clear this Capitals team isn't the same as the ones that won back-to-back regular season titles the past 2 seasons. 3 players, Andrei Burakovsky, thumb, Matt Niskanen, hand, and Tyler Grovak, upper body, stayed behind in Washington because of injuries, and the Capitals lineup looked even more bleak when top-line center Nicklas Backstrom was ruled out with an illness before the game. Less than 4 minutes into the second period, forward Brett Connolly was checked into the glass by Canucks defenseman Erik Gudbranson, and he suffered an undisclosed upper body injury and did not return. Capitals center Nicklas Backstrom misses game at Canucks due to illness. But more concerning was that this loss, Washington's 4th in 5 games, highlighted some issues that go beyond who wasn't on the ice. The Capitals, 4-5-1, managed just 4 shots in the first period and 12 through 40 minutes as the Canucks tallied twice as many. Their penalty kill struggled. The Canucks scored 3 times on the power play, as the Capitals again took too many costly penalties, and in a lineup that includes 4 rookies, it was 2 veteran defensemen with the turnover that led to Vancouver's 3rd goal. Off-season roster turnover because of salary cap constraints meant this Capitals team would be less experienced and less talented, and that's especially true now that injuries have taken their toll. 10 games in, Washington has continued to be plagued by some sloppy play, and unlike the past 2 seasons, the team doesn't have the personnel to make up for those errors when the Capitals fall into early deficits. Washington has scored first in just 3 of its first 9 games, and this marked the 5th straight game where it trailed to start the game. Thomas Vanek scored on a wild rebound that went off Holtby's pads, then another player, bouncing in and out of Holtby's glove before Vanek swatted it in. Less than a minute later, center Evgeny Kuznetsov was called for tripping, Washington's 2nd minor penalty of the game, and the Canucks took a 2-0 lead on a Bo Horvat power play goal. The Capitals would go on to allow another power play goal in the second period and then a 3rd one in the 3rd frame after Tom Wilson was called for cross-checking and instigating. Entering the game, the Canucks had the 3rd worst power play in the league, scoring on just 10% of their opportunities. As Capitals navigate growing pains and injuries, they have to stay mindful of the standings. Washington's penalty kill has now allowed at least 1 goal in 7 of its past 8 games. It hasn't helped that the Capitals entered the game ranked in the top 10 in the league for minor penalties. With less than 2 minutes left in the first period, Dmitry Orlov attempted to rim a puck along the bottom of the boards to defense partner John Carlson. But the pass was weak, stopping short of Carlson and intercepted by Derek Dorsett, who then set up Marcus Granlund. That gave Vancouver a 3-0 lead going into first intermission. The television feed caught Capitals coach Barry Trotz give a slight shake of his head on the bench in apparent frustration. Rogers Arena started to mockingly serenade Holtby. It was only the beginning of a long night. The Capitals now hope this isn't just the beginning.